Hi guys, how you doing? Hope all systems are go. Welcome to another episode of Hi 2. Well, this is our fifth session. God willing, today we'll be dealing with the grammar box 2 on page 9 and page 10, the writing section, coherence. Well, to start with, let's talk about proper nouns, as you can see here on the screen. Well, everyone, what is a proper noun or a proper name in British English? Think about nouns such as James, New York, China, Iran, Ali, for example. Everyone, these are the names of particular things. Yeah. So James, for example, Ali. These are names of people. New York. I don't know. Los Angeles. These are the names of cities. China, Iran are countries. We call them proper nouns or proper names. And as you know, they are written with capital letters. Well, take these proper nouns, for example. We have James, Charles, Silas, Travis, I don't know, Nicholas, Carlos. As you can see, these nouns end in S. So James, you see there is an S at the end, or Charles, or Silas, or Travis. Well, everyone, to show possession in proper nouns that end in S, there are two possible options, there are two possibilities, let's say. One is by adding apostrophe S, and the other is by adding just one apostrophe. So we can both add an apostrophe S, or one apostrophe will do it. Look at the examples. James's brother or James's brother. Pay attention, everyone. They have the same pronunciation, both the one with apostrophe S and one with just apostrophe. The same pronunciation. So one more time. James's brother and James's brother, or Silas's house or Silas's house. The one with apostrophe S and one with just an apostrophe. All right. So, welcome to page 9, grammar box 2, possessive apostrophe S. Proper nouns ending in S can take both apostrophe S and apostrophe, though with famous ones, apostrophe will do. So as I mentioned earlier, proper noun means names such as James, Iran, New York, China, that refer to a particular thing. To show possession in such nouns, everyone, especially nouns that end in S, we have two possibilities. We can add apostrophe S or just one apostrophe. Though with famous ones, with famous nouns, apostrophe will do. Apostrophe will do means just one apostrophe is okay. It will suffice. It will be sufficient, let's say. Check out these examples. So, we have Jones's car or Jones's car. You see, the first one is with apostrophe S and the second one just apostrophe. Again, please pay attention. They have the same pronunciation. Jones's car or Jones's car. Second one, Jesus's father or Jesus's father. The same pronunciation. The first one with apostrophe S, the second one just an apostrophe. Archimedes' principle or Archimedes' principle. Principle, everyone, means rule, idea. And as you know, Archimedes was a Greek philosopher, Arachmidos. Okay? Next one, Socrates' ideas or Socrates' ideas. You see the same pronunciation. Socrates was another Greek philosopher. So, Socrates' ideas or Socrates' ideas. Socrates, as you know, we call Sokrat in Persia. Well, Dickens's novels or Dickens's novels. Again, the same pronunciation. The first one with one apostrophe, the second one with apostrophe and S. Novel, everyone, means a long story. As you know, Charles Dickens was a famous English novelist. Well, Ulysses' companions or Ulysses' companions. Companion means friend, someone who accompanies you. So, Ulysses or Ulysses. And the last one, Robert Menzies' terms as Australian Prime Minister, PM. So, Robert Menzies' terms, the time when he was the Prime Minister. So, you see, all these nouns, everyone, end in S, and they are all proper nouns, which means we have two possibilities, one with apostrophe and the other with apostrophe S. So you can add either an apostrophe S or just an apostrophe with the same pronunciation. I repeat myself, with the same pronunciation. So Jones's car, Jones's car. Jesus' father, Jesus' father. Archimedes' principle, Archimedes' principle. Socrates' ideas, Socrates' ideas. Dickens's novels, Dickens's novels. Ulysses' companions, Ulysses' companions. Robert Menzies' terms as Australian Prime Minister. Note, with famous proper nouns, just an apostrophe will do. Will do means is enough, is sufficient, will suffice. Take Dickens, for example. You know, Charles Dickens is a famous, of course, Dickens is a famous proper noun. So the first one is more common. Or Socrates, you know, the great philosopher. So the first one, Socrates' ideas, is more common than the second one. Well, let's move on. The apostrophe S structure or the plural with S apostrophe is often used to say how long things last. So, everyone, we use apostrophe S or just apostrophe in plural nouns to mention how long something continues. Check out the examples. A day's trip. You see day, apostrophe S. Well, a day's trip, everyone, means a trip that lasts for a day. A one-day trip. 20 minutes delay or a 20-minute delay. You see, everyone, here 20 minutes. We have apostrophe after S because this is the plural form, minutes. Yeah, minutes, we need one apostrophe. So 20 minutes delay or a 20-minute delay. By the way, we say a 20-minute delay, not minutes. And the reason 20 minutes is an adjective for delay. So, for example, my daughter is 7 years old. So I can say, I have a 7-year-old daughter. 7-year-old. Why 7-year-old? Because it is an adjective for daughter. Or This is a 70-page book. 70-page book. You see, we don't say pages because 70-page is an adjective for book. Well, in a year's time, 1 year's time. In a year's time means within a year. In a year's time, something great is going to happen, God willing. 3 days leave. You see, days is plural, everyone, and we need one apostrophe just after S. By the way, leave means time allowed away from work for holiday or because of illness. So 3 days leave means you are away, you are not at work for 3 days. Next one, we use apostrophe S to talk about particular moments and events, special moments and events, happenings. Examples: yesterday's news, news that belongs to yesterday, yesterday's news. Last Sunday's match. There was a match last Sunday, so we call it last Sunday's match. You see, apostrophe S. Tomorrow's weather. Tomorrow's weather. It means the weather tomorrow. Tomorrow's weather is sunny. Tomorrow's weather. A day's work. Days. You see, apostrophe S. A day's work, guys, means it will take 1 day to be completed. A day's work. For example, renovating this room is a day's work. A month's pay. 1 month's pay. Money you earn for a month. And today's newspaper. Today's, you see, apostrophe S, newspaper. Have you read today's newspaper? Well, we use apostrophe S in some special expressions, phrases, let's say terms, like, such as, for God's sake. Well, everyone, we say for God's sake, for heaven's sake, for Pete's sake, for Christ's sake, for goodness' sake. They all show exasperation, kind of annoyance. So these are exclamations of exasperation. For God's sake, listen to me. For heaven's sake, do it right. For Pete's sake, let's get out of here. They show anger and annoyance. Next one, a stone's throw away. A stone's throw away from something. Or everyone, we say a stone's throw from something. It means very near, very close. The shopping mall is a stone's throw away from my house. It means it is very near, very close to my house. Next one, to be at death's door. It means to be very ill and likely to die. I remember the time when my grandfather was at death's door. He was awfully sick and he was likely to die at death's door. In my mind's eye, you see, mind's eye, apostrophe S. In my mind's eye, everyone, means in my imagination, in my memory. In my mind's eye, that's a cool idea. I think, I believe, I suppose it's a great idea. 2 cents, 2 cents worth. Well, 2 cents worth means it costs 2 cents. For example, it is a 2 cents worth pen. It means it costs 2 cents. And finally, the possessive is also used to refer to stores, restaurants, churches, and colleges, using the name or job title of the owner. Remember in the story A Plate of Peas, we had Aunt Lillian's. So we have Lillian, Lillian's. Well, Aunt Lillian's, everyone, Aunt Lillian's means Aunt Lillian's house, Aunt Lillian's place. Okay? Well, here we have Luigi's. Luigi's is the name of the restaurant. Last weekend, we had a yummy, a delicious meal at Luigi's. Or she goes to St. Mary's. St. Mary's, everyone here, refers to the name of the school. Or we went shopping at Mango's, for example, Mango's, or Macy's. I got this jacket at Macy's. Macy's is a well-known department store in the US. So we use apostrophe S to refer to stores, restaurants, colleges, universities, churches, schools, etc. Well, hope it has been clear enough so far. Micro practice. Complete the sentences using the correct form of the words given. Okay, I'd like to share the answers with you, everyone. So, just a second, please. Yeah, here we are. Okay, now, these are the answers. Number 1, Charles's CD player, or Charles's, again the same pronunciation, Charles's CD player is new. Remember, because Charles is a proper noun, it is the name of a person, and it ends in S, we have two options. We can add either an apostrophe or an apostrophe S. So Charles's CD player or Charles's CD player, the same pronunciation. Number 2, I love Keats's poetry, or Keats's poetry. Well, Keats, again, is a proper noun, everyone. As you can see, it ends in S. So we have two options. We can add either an apostrophe or an apostrophe S. So Keats's poetry and Keats's poetry. By the way, poetry, as you know, means poem. So it means Keats is a poet, someone who writes poetry. For example, Hafez was a great poet. He wrote poetry. Number 3, is that yesterday's paper? Yesterday's paper, apostrophe S. Paper, guys, here means newspaper. Number 4, they decided to go to Mark and Spencer's for shopping. So, Mark and Spencer's is a name of a department store. Number 5, I've only had 1 week's vacation so far this year. Okay, let me just correct this. So, I've only had 1 week's vacation so far this year. 1 week's apostrophe S. Number 6, all employees were on a 2-day leave last week. Well, everyone, we say 2-day leave because 2-day is an adjective for leave. So we say a 2-day leave. And number 7, for heaven's sake, heavens apostrophe S, what did you have in your mind when you proposed that? What were you thinking about when you suggested, when you recommended, when you offered that? For heaven's sake, for Peter's sake, for Pete's sake, for Christ's sake, we all use them to all to just show annoyance and anger. All right. Well, let's move on. Page 10, everyone. Page 10. Coherence. Coherence. Well, guys, when your piece of writing, for example, your paragraph is easy to understand because its parts are connected in a clear and reasonable and comprehensible way, we say your paragraph or your piece of writing is coherent, and there is coherence in your writing. So, when it is easy to understand because of the good connection between the let's say sentences and ideas. Okay, so just a minute. Yes. Well, check out these two paragraphs, everyone. Okay, so of course, let me just share my screen on second thought. Yeah, let me share my screen. Yes, okay. So everyone, example coherent paragraphs, yeah, coherent paragraphs. Well, the following paragraphs represent weak and strong examples of coherence. The first one here, we have a weak example, everyone. This is a weak example. Take a listen. For me, the worst thing about waiting tables is the uniform. All the waitresses had to wear this ugly brown striped jumper. The shirts were polyester. Sometimes someone you know comes in. Now I have a job in an office. Wow, what's this? Well, you see, it doesn't make sense. There is no clear and reasonable connection between the sentences. So it just leaves you baffled and puzzled the way I'm feeling right now. And it is really kind of difficult to grasp and comprehend this paragraph because it lacks coherence, everyone. It is not a coherent paragraph. Well, a strong example of this this paragraph can be, for me, the worst thing about waiting tables was the uniform. At the last place I worked, all the waitresses had to wear an ugly brown striped jumper. Underneath it, we had to wear an even uglier polyester shirt. Sometimes someone I knew would come in and I'd feel embarrassed by my outfit, set of clothes. Now I have a job in an office where I can wear my own clothes. So you see the second paragraph makes sense. It is just crystal clear. You have no problem just comprehending and understanding it. So the reason, because the sentences are well connected, there is good connection between the sentences, and it is a coherent paragraph, everyone. A coherent paragraph. Okay, well, let's move on. So, page 10, everyone, writing, coherence. Take a listen. An important characteristic of a good paragraph is coherence. In a coherent paragraph, the ideas are arranged logically and the sentences are in an order that makes sense to the reader. If the ideas are logically arranged, the reader can easily follow the progression of ideas. He or she can quickly understand the main idea and follow the writer's thinking. So, an important characteristic, quality, feature of a good paragraph is coherence. And as I mentioned earlier, coherence means the logical order and, of course, the connection between the sentences in a paragraph. In a coherent paragraph, coherent is the adjective form of coherence, guys. So, in a coherent paragraph, the ideas are arranged logically, they are ordered logically in a logical way, and the sentences are in an order that makes sense to the reader. So, they make sense, they are comprehensible, understandable to the reader. The reader has no difficulty understanding the sentences. If the ideas are logically arranged in a paragraph, so if the sentences are logically arranged, the reader can easily follow the progression of ideas. Well, everyone, progression means the development of ideas. So the progression of ideas means the development of the ideas. He or she, the reader, can quickly understand the main idea and follow the writer's thinking, follow the writer's idea. Well, take a look at the paragraph below. Take a look and take a listen, please. Number 1. Throughout most of my school days, my eyes failed to focus correctly when reading. 2. Consequently, I saw different symbols every time I read a sentence. 3. As a result, the printed page was a chaotic kaleidoscope of constantly changing letters that made no sense. 4. For example, when reading the last sentence, I would see letters made sense or as letter that made no ends or letters made no sense, depending on how my eyes focused on a sentence. 5. After my eye problem was corrected, my real problems began because it was assumed that I could now read like everyone else. 6. This was a big mistake that overlooked the psychological effects created by my visual disability. 7. Most importantly, I was left doubting my understanding when reading unfamiliar material while teachers began to give me increasingly complex material to read. Alright, well, before we go on, let's check out some vocabulary items. I do believe in order to understand the material, you need uh, to just understand the text. So, throughout my life, my whole school, most of my school means all my school days. So, throughout, fail, everyone. When you fail to focus, it means you can't do it. So, my eyes failed to focus, they couldn't focus. Well, chaotic is the adjective form of chaos. It means confusion, yeah, lack of order, untidiness. Well, everyone, kaleidoscope means something that changes constantly, regularly. Kaleidoscope, something that changes again and again. Constantly means forever, constantly. Made no sense. Well, they made no sense means they were senseless, they were pointless, they were meaningless. Then corrected. My eye problem was corrected. It means my eye problem was fixed. I didn't have any problems at all. It was assumed. Assume means suppose, presume, think. So it was assumed means everyone assumed that, everyone supposed that. To overlook, everyone, means to miss or fail to see or fail to notice something. Psychological, as you know, is the adjective form of psychology. So psychological, psychology. Visual disability. Well, disability, guys, is the opposite of ability. So disability is kind of lack of ability. Visual is related to vision, seeing, eyes. So visual disability, kind of problems seeing something. Most importantly means it was important that, most importantly. Doubt. When you doubt something, you are uncertain, you're unsure about it. Doubt. Unfamiliar is opposite of familiar. When someone or something is unfamiliar, you don't know them, they're kind of new to you. And increasingly, more and more complex. Complex means complicated, difficult to understand. All right. Now, well, this is an example of a coherent paragraph. Now, let's check out the explanations. In this writer's first sentence, he introduces the topic of the paragraph. So, the first sentence, number one, the topic sentence, the topic of the paragraph. Then, he makes a connection of cause and effect with his use of consequently at the beginning of the next paragraph. Remember, consequently means therefore. So you see, at the beginning of paragraph, at the beginning of sentence 2, we have consequently. So the writer, everyone, has made a connection between sentence 1 and sentence 2, so that it is easy to just follow. In sentence 3, he builds up coherence by creating another cause and effect relationship with the phrase as a result. As a result means therefore, so, consequently, thus. And by referring back to the last sentence. So you see in number 3, again, as a result, helps to build up coherence in this paragraph. In sentence 5, he creates a narrative relationship between events, between happenings, by beginning his sentence with after, and he repeats a key concept, a key idea, I problem from the topic sentence. So, you see number 5, yeah, we have after, then I problem. These are all tools which the writer, the author, has used, has applied to achieve coherence, everyone. And next one, the writer then creates coherence in sentence 6 by using a pronoun this to refer back to an event he described in sentence 5. So he mentioned something in sentence 5. So in here, number 6, this was a big mistake. Well, you see, the writer has used this to, again, build up to achieve coherence in his paragraph. And finally, in sentence 7, he completes the circle, he just accomplishes the mission by referring to another key idea in his topic sentence, that of reading. So again here in number 7, yeah, he just mentions reading unfamiliar material, which helps to create coherence. Well, let's move on. So everyone, so far we just discussed coherence, how to achieve it, what is meant by coherence, and what is a coherent paragraph. Guys, there are a number of ways you can achieve coherence in a text. So we have several ways to guarantee our piece of writing is coherent. Number 1 is by repeating keywords or phrases. So to achieve coherence, everyone, in paragraph writing, you can use and repeat keywords and phrases. Well, repeating the word or phrase that is the theme of your essay, that is the main subject of your essay, or the topic of your sentence, is a way of keeping the text focused, is a way of achieving coherence in writing. For example, the keyword in the following paragraph is go. Well, everyone, check out the paragraph here. First, let me read it out to you. Then we will discuss the new vocabulary and how the writer has achieved coherence. Take a listen. Gold, a precious metal, is prized for 2 important characteristics. First of all, gold has a lustrous beauty that is resistant to corrosion. I'm so sorry. So that is resistant to corrosion. Therefore, it is suitable for jewelry, coins, and ornamental purposes. Gold never needs to be polished and will remain beautiful forever. For example, a Macedonian coin remains as untarnished today as the day it was minted 23 centuries ago. Another important characteristic of gold is its usefulness to industry and science. For many years, it has been used in hundreds of industrial applications. The most recent use of gold is in astronaut suits. Astronauts wear gold-plated heat shields for protection outside the spaceship. In conclusion, gold is treasured not only for its beauty, but also for its utility. So, everyone, as you noticed, this paragraph was coherent. You can see the connection, the smooth sentences, the connection between these sentences. Well, here the writer has created coherence by using the keyword. You see, our keyword is gold. He has repeated it several times to achieve coherence. Well, let's check out some vocabulary items as I promised earlier. Gold is a precious metal. Precious means valuable, worthing a lot of money. And nowadays, of course, it is really precious, as the price of gold is just skyrocketing, is shooting up. Yeah, it is so precious. So it is a precious metal. It is prized. Everyone, prize is a verb here. It means to treasure, to value something. So prize means to treasure, to value something. So it is prized for two important characteristics, for two important features, qualities. First of all, well, you need to correct the spelling. There's a misprint here, I'm afraid. So first of all, gold has a lustrous beauty. Lustrous means shiny, very shiny, glossy, lustrous beauty. That is resistant to corrosion. Resistant means not damaged or affected by something. Corrosion is the noun form of corrode. Corrosion means, everyone, the gradual destruction of metal. Gold is resistant to corrosion means it doesn't corrode, it doesn't get damaged. Therefore, so gold is suitable, it is good, it is okay for jewelry, jewelry, rings, necklaces, bracelets, watches, rings. So it is good for jewelry, coins, and ornamental purposes. Well, ornamental means decorative, using as decoration. Just think about some ornamental objects. Gold never needs to be polished. Well, when we polish something, we rub it to make it shiny and glossy. So we don't need to polish gold, and it will remain beautiful forever, for good, for always. For example, a Macedonian coin. Macedonia, everyone, as far as I remember, is a country near Greece, Macedonia. So the adjective form is Macedonian. So a Macedonian coin remains as untarnished. Untarnished means unchanged, having no stains. As untarnished today as the day it was minted 23 centuries ago. Well, when we mint A coin, we make a coin from metal. So mint is a verb here. It means to make a coin from metal. Century, as you remember, means 100 years. So decade, century, and millennium. Another important characteristic of gold, another important feature of gold is its usefulness. So it is useful to industry and science. We use it in industry and science. For many years, it has been used in hundreds of industrial applications, in lots of industrial uses and purposes. The most recent, the newest, the latest use of gold is in astronaut suits. Remember, astronauts travel to space, they do some experiments, and of course, to travel to space, they need to wear special clothes. We call them suits, astronaut suits. Astronauts wear gold-plated. Gold-plated, everyone, means covered with a thin layer of gold. Gold-plated. Heat shields. Heat shield means a device we use to protect against high temperature. So, gold-plated, covered with a thin layer of gold, and heat shield means something, device we use to protect ourselves against high temperature. For protection, for protecting, protection, outside the spaceship. Spaceship or spacecraft, they use it to travel to the space. In conclusion, to conclude, to sum up, to summarize, gold is treasured. Treasured, remember, gold is prized. Gold is valued, not only for its beauty, but also for its utility. Beauty is the noun form of beautiful. Utility means usefulness, being useful. Okay, let's move on. Note, while there's some words you can safely repeat in a sentence, repeating a word with more than 2 syllables is risky. So, while here means although, everyone. So, although repetition is a way to achieve coherence, it can be kind of risky and dangerous to repeat longer words. Although this is not a hard and fast rule, though this is not a fixed, this is not a strict rule, it pays to make sure that you aren't using the same word over and over in a sentence. Well, it pays means it has a good and useful result. To make sure that you aren't using the same word over and over repeatedly again and again in a sentence, and instead turn to synonyms or break up sentences when necessary. So, instead of everyone repeating long words, words that are long and which can be kind of confusing and risky, you can use synonyms, or you can try just restructuring your paragraph, your piece of writing. Well, example. So instead of different aspects of a thesis, different parts of a thesis, a piece of writing, need different expressions. That is, for example, A different word reflecting a different perspective, idea, view, outlook, and your paper theme, subject, as it relates to different circumstances, conditions, situations. So instead of this, it is offered that the following suggestions be considered. We can use this. So you see, different, 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 different. Well, we have repeated the keyword, but because different is a kind of a long word, it is kind of awkward or risky to repeat it. Don't overdo it, everyone, let's say. So this is a better version of the sentence here. We can say different aspects of a thesis require their own expressions. That is, a certain word chosen to reflect each individual perspective on the theme as it relates to particular circumstances. Well, hours fly when you're having fun. They really, really do. This is the end of another episode. I'm your teacher, Mr. Mazloumi from Chitsazan Language Institute. Thanks for accompanying us, everyone. Don't forget to review and practice. Remember, practice makes perfect. Well, until another session, take care and have a good one.